Ever get this feeling like there's got to be some kind of pattern to it all, like some code behind the universe? Well, today we're diving deep into a world where quantum computers try to crack one of math's biggest mysteries, the Riemann hypothesis.
And what's really got me hooked is that we're not just talking theory here.
Right.
We've got actual code, someone's attempt to use quantum computing to tackle this thing.
It's like we're peeking over the shoulder of some digital age Alan Turing trying to crack a cosmic code.
Yeah.
But before we go too far, set the stage for us. For folks who aren't, living and breathing the Riemann hypothesis every day.
Sure.
What's the gist? What's all the fuss about?
So at its core, the Riemann hypothesis is all about prime numbers.
Okay, those building blocks, right?
Exactly. Those numbers you can only divide by one and themselves. Now, the hypothesis, it predicts where a very specific math function, this thing called the Riemann Zeta function, equals 0. Now, these zeros, they're not just random points on a graph. They might actually show us the hidden structure, the pattern behind how prime numbers are spread out.
So, if we crack the code of these zeros, we suddenly understand prime numbers way better.
Exactly.
But, and I know this is a big BUT, this can't just be some theoretical math game, right? What's the real-world impact, the so what?
Imagine a world where online security, all that cryptography stuff, becomes basically unbreakable.
Whoa.
Or think about how understanding these prime patterns could lead to materials like crazy properties we haven't even dreamt of. That's the power this hypothesis holds.
That's huge. It's like the Rosetta Stone of the internet age, potentially. Unlock one thing and boom, whole industries are revolutionized. Okay, you mentioned this code uses quantum computers, which is already mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But why quantum? What makes them the right tool for this Riemann puzzle?
You see, the Riemann hypothesis, computationally speaking, it's a monster. Regular computers, even the superpowered ones, they choke on the complexity.
Makes sense.
But quantum computers, they're different. They use these bizarre rules of quantum mechanics to do calculations in ways we can barely wrap our heads around. They could be the key to finally breaking through the computational wall and really digging into the Riemann hypothesis.
Like trading in your old calculator for, some supercomputer from Star Trek. Okay, there's one more layer to this that I got to ask about. This whole connection between the Riemann hypothesis and something called the Langlands Program. Two totally different parts of math, and this code links them. What's going on there?
That's where things get really, really interesting. The Langlands Program is like finding this secret network of tunnels connecting all these different continents in the math world. It suggests that stuff like algebra, geometry, number theory, they're all way more connected than we thought.
Wow.
And this code, if it works, could be a concrete example of that connection, showing that quantum computers might be the key to navigating those tunnels.
So we're not just trying to prove the Riemann hypothesis, we're looking for a secret passage, a quantum bridge between different mathematical universes.
Exactly.
And that's where this code comes in the blueprint for our quantum symphony.
Yeah, and to really grasp what this deep dive is all about, we need to break down this code, meet the players in this orchestra.
All right, let's unpack this quantum orchestra then. Who are the key players? So we're standing at the edge of this quantum orchestra pit, ready to meet the musicians. Where do we even start?
No, every orchestra needs its lead violinist.
Right. Gotta have that star power.
And in our quantum ensemble, that's got to be the Riemann Zeta analyzer.
Okay, so this is the part that's really going after those zeros we talked about.
Exactly. This component, it's laser focused on the Riemann Zeta function, trying to isolate those points where it hits 0.
Like searching for those mathematical black holes. What else we got in this ensemble?
Next up, the Riemann quantum circuit. Think of this like, if the analyzer's the virtuoso, this is the instrument.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
This is where the quantum rubber meets the road. It takes the mind-bending math of the Riemann hypothesis and translates it into the language of quantum states, qubits and quantum gates, things like Hadamard and CNOT gates, which mess with information in ways regular computers just can't handle.
So we're taking these crazy equations and turning them into, a musical score only the quantum computer can read.
That's a great way to put it.
But we're also trying to bridge over to other areas of math, right? Bring in that Langlands Program connection.
You got it. That's where the automorphic form and Galois representation come in.
Okay, hit me with those then. What roles do they play in this quantum jam session?
Think of these like instruments with totally unique sounds, adding layers and harmonies to the whole thing. The automorphic form piece, this one helps us understand these symmetrical mathematical objects. Like, imagine super intricate patterns repeating across multiple dimensions.
Ooh, my brain's already starting to hurt, but in a good way.
And then there's Galois representation. Now, this one, it's like a bridge between abstract algebra and geometry. Really powerful stuff.
Okay, so we've got our lead violinist on those zeros, our quantum instrument doing the heavy lifting, and these other players bringing in the Langlands program vibes. It's a lot.
It is. And we need someone to conduct all this.
Right. Who's making sure this whole thing doesn't just descend into chaos.
The quantum Riemann Langlands analyzer, that's our conductor. This component, it analyzes everything coming out of the quantum circuit, looking for clues, those little hints that the patterns predicted by the Langlands program are actually emerging from all the quantum noise.
So the conductor's listening for those moments where the Riemann hypothesis and the Langlands program, they harmonize.
Exactly. If those harmonies ring true, then we know something big is happening.
Okay, we've met the musicians, seen the instruments. Walk us through the actual performance. How does this code work?
Imagine it like a perfectly choreographed ballet, each step flowing into the next. First up, encoding. Picture a digital choreographer translating the Riemann hypothesis into a sequence of moves, a language our quantum computer can understand.
So we're feeding the sheet music into the quantum instrument.
Yeah, and that encoded information, our mathematical choreography, it goes straight into the Riemann quantum circuit.
And then, this is the good part, right?
Then comes the main event, the quantum calculation. Now, the quantum computer takes the stage. It takes those encoded qubits and, dances through this huge space of possibilities, stuff a normal computer can never even dream of.
It's doing calculations with every spin, every leap across the stage.
Exactly. A quantum dance of numbers. And at the end of it all, we get to the analysis phase.
Okay, so the music stops, the dancers strike a pose, now what?
Our conductor, the quantum Riemann Langlands analyzer, steps in. It looks at where all those qubits ended up after the dance, sifting through the quantum noise, looking for those echoes, those telltale signs that line up with the Langlands program predictions. If it finds them, well, that means our quantum orchestra just played something truly profound.
So we've seen the steps, heard the music, watched the quantum ballet unfold. It's really something, this idea that the Riemann hypothesis and the Langlands program could be connected like this.
It is pretty mind-blowing stuff.
They've got to bring us back down to earth a little bit.
Right.
We're still in the early days of quantum computers, right?
Absolutely.
This code, as amazing as it is, it's still a simulation, like a theoretical test drive before we've really built the car.
Yeah, it's a good analogy. The real-world quantum computers, they're still a little finicky.
It's prone to errors. You know, those quantum calculations are super delicate. Imagine trying to, bake a cake while riding a roller coaster.
Oh, man, that's a recipe for disaster.
Exactly. The potential is there, but it's easy for things to go off the rails.
Okay, but even with those bumps in the road, let's say, down the line, we get those quantum computers humming along perfectly. This code runs, no errors. What changes? What's the impact, not just for math nerds like us, but for, the world at large?
Honestly, it could be huge, totally change how we solve really, really hard problems.
Okay, give me an example.
Imagine using quantum algorithms based on this code to, I don't know, design new medicines crazy fast.
Wow.
Or figure out totally new ways to generate clean energy by, cracking the code of photosynthesis at the quantum level. It's like opening a door to a whole new world of possibilities. We could solve some of the biggest challenges we face.
Exactly.
Okay, before we go totally off the rails with excitement here, there's one last thing I gotta ask about. This code, it spits out a fractal. Why? Is that just a visual quirk, or is there something deeper going on?
Ah, yes, the fractal. It's kind of a fascinating side effect of all this quantum number crunching, like a visual echo of the math itself.
Okay, so a hidden message.
Maybe. We don't really know what it means yet. But it hints at something deeper, something beautiful and complex going on beneath the surface.
It's like we've stumbled across an ancient artifact, but we don't know how to read the language yet.
Exactly. And who knows what other mysteries are out there just waiting for us to figure out how to use these quantum tools to unlock them.
That's a thought to end on right there. What other incredible connections and insights are just out of reach, waiting for us to catch up? Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the mind-blowing world of quantum computing and the Riemann hypothesis. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride, and until next time, keep those brains buzzing and never stop exploring the unknown.